Hello everyone! Welcome back to the RacialInvestor.com's Daily Brief! Woohoo! Party! Uh-oh. My camera just kick out? That interesting. Actually it looks like the camera's working, but I'm not quite sure. Anyway, we are trying to do something new here. The boys got a cable that plugs the camera in, so it shouldn't kick out, but usually I see my image here and the camera's now not giving it to me. Oh, now what the heck's going on? Alright, gee whiz. This is professional stuff, isn't it? I can see. Look at the camera's doing all sorts of funny things here. So I suppose working with OBS, and where's the OBS screen? I guess I gotta figure out, let's see what the hell OBS is seeing. Well, it sees my camera as well. So anyway, this might be a batch job here today. Anyway, I'll get better. Never been closer, right? Isn't that the theme of TRI? Anyway, welcome back to the Frivolity. It's about 3 minutes past 9 a.m. on the wet coast. Looks like there's about 10-15 people here. There's Nick in the lounge, Chris in the lounge. Chris got the Video Ninja thing working. I can't talk out loud until 12:30 p.m. from Steven. Oh yeah, Steven's going to be our special guest here today on the Daily Brief Afterparty. Steven, of course, is our harmonics aficionado, sort of the captain of the harmonics room. So that should be actually a really fun conversation. Stephen always provokes lots of talk amongst the community and lots of interest. Of course, harmonics is one of the topics we cover in our level 3 program. So all the current level 3ers right now should be feverishly reading their harmonics manuals and trying to figure out what the heck a PRZ is. But anyway. Again, I have no idea if this camera's working or not. The message that I'm getting here is that the camera's not on, but I look over at YouTube and it looks like the camera is on, so I don't know. Okay, so on the screen right now, I think you see our dashboard. What a wonky market, eh? I mean, technically, we're in a bear mode here. It's just the market hasn't like officially rolled over just yet. And I did notice that our crypto breadth, lower highs and lower lows, just looking nasty. It's trying to break out to the upside. And you can see that the broader crypto market is trying to turn back up. But I did notice, and we saw this happen recently, where the breadth indicator comes up, it kisses the fast, kisses the slow, and then it gets rejected down. So you can see the exact same thing happened here overnight. Fast kissed slow. But is this the after effect of old man Biden and his speeches in front of the U.S. Political machine? I have no idea. What I did notice was, waking up this morning, risk in itself is just getting smoked here today. And if anything, I think, where are we here? Actually, I think it was, we were watching the stock market. Stock market actually had a cute little bearish bot setup working here first thing this morning. But I didn't really get 3 lower highs. I got 1 lower high, 2 lower highs, all the moving averages all pointing down. Your short entry there, 41.46, and baboosh, dadoosh, boosh. So we crashed down into bought profit objectives, and you can see how the market's just sort of sitting here right now, kind of going, now what the hell do we do? And if anything, if you look at the broader market, like I said, the breadth indicator is not bullish. It's kind of wonky right now. We had the most beautiful buy signal last fall. I mean, it was absolutely textbook buy signal. Actually even got a nice outside upside reversal, especially on like the Dow, the legacy stocks. Beautiful buy signal. That took us into the end of the year. Then we've been doing, we kind of went on pause. We had a little bit of a buy signal come out through sort of middle of December there. And of course, nice price structure here. And on balance, whenever you see W's in the marketplace, it's probably a good idea for you to throw on foggy boggies. So I don't know. It's always tough to sort of figure out, okay, which W is the market actually working off of? And I get the impression down, up, down. This is probably the one it's working off of. So 2.618s, we banged into that level. Do we have to go up into 4.669s? Interestingly enough, you notice there is some price gap action up there against that high. So it wouldn't surprise me. And bot levels, of course, those people that trade the bot, long from 39.52, had moved stop to scratch level 41.14, and you can kind of see the market's kind of humming and hawing. What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Bot-ers can officially sort of start locking in profits off of this trade if we trade up to 42.18 and change. And ultimately, the bot actually wants to get us up to 44.39. The only issue that I see with this chart is, of course, markets never move in a straight line. Could we use some time just to do some backfilling to set the stage for that move up top? I kind of think so, but that's just pure opinion. So as it is right now, believe it or not, I could actually justify thinking about shorts. If you wanted to play this range here from this high back to this low, 50% level is probably right in these moving averages. And probably it means that we're just going to sort of stair step our way down this trend line as we go through that correction process. So kind of a meh. I mean, it's probably too late to be a buyer, maybe a little too early to be a seller. And then, of course, the day traders, like I said, they're day traders, coming out of that speech last night. I get the impression reading the rags. I didn't actually watch the speech myself. Actually, what was more important to me, and it's kind of a funny anecdote of our society right now, I watched Mr. Powell's speech yesterday. And on balance, you could totally tell that he's not a banker by trade. And the guy interviewing him yesterday was kind of like, typical bankers, they actually try really hard to confuse you. And Alan Greenspan was famous for this. He used to always say, if you actually understood what I said, then I was being far too clear. I mean, he purposely wanted to be very vague and very, I've got a clue what this guy's saying. I mean, that was his mantra. So it's interesting, the different tone, but the problem here is that I think has actually gotten Jerry into a bit of trouble because clearly, the Fed has been very public about what they expect is going to happen out of the economy and the market, and they've been completely wrong. Time after time after time, they've been wrong. It's quite remarkable. So that's one of the main reasons why Alan Greenspan didn't like to be too clear to the public, because they don't know what the fuck's going to happen. But anyway, that's sort of funny jokes. In the news, like I said, Mr. Biden, and actually I've got the camera. The camera's still working, eh? Like, can you, David, you're over there on YouTube. I don't think there's many people that watch these videos. Actually, there's a good 20, 30 people over there. Can you tell me whether you can see my ugly mug? Am I actually on camera right now? Because actually my camera now has officially just turned itself off. Wow, isn't that interesting? Is it still working? Oh, how bizarre. I can't figure this out at all. But anyway, as I said, the boys just got me some new hardware here. In fact, actually, I got a green screen that I should have up and running here shortly. Oh, yeah, you guys can see. All right, well, there you go. So the camera's working. Hi! Anyway, we had our Stock Pickers Club last night. That was kind of fun. Always a privilege to hang out with David O, Ryan, who else was in there? Ed, who's being a pretty good contributor these days. Paul. We had Francis in there. Who else? Anyway, there's a few other people. My apologies if I forgot your name. But, oh, you're right. Actually, that's a good point. I never thought of that. You're right. The reason why... Actually, let's just do something fun. I mean, what the hell? It's not like we're getting paid to do this. Let's see what happens. You're looking at the webcam right now, but let's see if we can turn on the actual camera. Thank you for pointing that out. It's Chris. So there, that is the OBS camera, but what we were supposed to be doing is actually looking at the this camera. So let's see if this thing actually turns on now. Oh, look at that. No, it's saying I'm off. No, you can't. Don't bug me. There it is. All right, come on. And let's see what happens. Now you're going to see me and you're going to be like, whoa, whoa, go back to the other camera. Look at that. Bang. Oh, in your face. I guess we better save that. There you go. Wow. Holy moly. What a difference in image. I don't know whether that's an improvement or... Anyway, this is the camera that I'm supposed to be using. I guess we'll move that over there. So we're kind of centered a little bit better. So I don't know. And the thing is that's about as zoomed out as I can get. I can't get any further zoomed out, so I'm not quite sure what to do with this. But anyway, so is that better? Or is that worse? Let me know in the comments. Hit the like button, subscribe, ring Colleen's bell, all that kind of fun stuff. You know how this thing goes. Anyway, I suppose the camera should be at least centered. Isn't that interesting? It's almost like it's a oh, isn't that bizarre? Anyway, there I am. Merry Christmas. I don't know whether that's a better picture or whatnot. And you can actually see, I don't have the blurred background and stuff, so you can actually see me in the background. Look at that doofus over there. God, look at him. And actually, you could probably see the screens and everything I'm looking at in the mirror. Anyway. Okay, so back to our conversation here. Some of the, let's see, what are we supposed to be doing? We talked about the news. So actually, we won't jump into this just yet. Well, let's pop on over to the news. You can see the whole market came off here. I get the impression that the market was probably more enamored with what Mr. I have to figure out which screen's on here. Jesus, this is tough to do. Market's more interested in the econs that are coming out and how they relate to what Mr. Powell said yesterday. I mean, he said that goods, and that's, you probably heard me say before, if you're a student of mine, then you probably heard this before. There's two parts of the inflation cycle. There is the cost push and then the demand pull. Cost push is all about the cost of goods in the economy. Crude oil, wheat, the foods, right? And then in a lot of the sort of Fed inflation gauges, they actually take out the volatile food and energy components. The problem, of course, is that it seems that there's actually three different parts of the inflation equation here this go round. So you have the commodities, which to all intents and purposes, they're going to do what they do. Obviously, Vladdy goes and does what he does in Eastern Europe, and all the commodity traders start freaking out. Then, you trap everybody in their prison cells because of made-up sicknesses. And, people say, well, if I'm trapped in my prison cell, I might as well go and do some home improvements while I'm sitting here picking my nose. And so everybody goes and buys up all the lumber in the local lumber yards, and lumber prices go through the roof. Then there is this odd situation where the housing market has been securitized. And so as a result, Joe Sixpack, and really it makes no sense to me whatsoever. A great analogy is in Jerry's speech yesterday, the interviewer asked him how much he made a year, and he said $190,000 is his salary. Now, as a really odd sort of quirk about this economy, in Canada, the leader of the opposition in Ontario, and of course Ontario is the center of my country, they're saying right now that the average home mortgage in Ontario, and Toronto in particular, is $7,000 a month, or basically about, $85,000 a year. And theoretically, you're supposed to be able to afford a mortgage. You're supposed to have, your income is supposed to be 3 times that number, right? So your housing costs are about 33% of your budget. So that means, by definition, the chairman of the U.S. Federal Reserve Board is too much of a poor-ass, punk-ass bitch to be able to afford a home in Canada. What the fuck? I mean, this doesn't make any sense. I mean, that's how twisted the economics are right now. So, so you got this crazy housing situation, and look what happened on the headlines today. U.S. mortgage applications rebound 7.4% in the week ending February 3rd, rebounding from a 9% decline. And of course, Jerry's been saying that, okay, we've got prices coming down. Next, we have to see housing services coming down. That's when we know we got in front of this inflation problem. And then finally, after that, you should see the workers, the chumps, their demand for higher wages. We should see that inflationary pressure coming down. So the news out of today was kind of like, we haven't even gotten in front of this housing issue yet. And it's so, we're living in like Bizarro world, like Superman. I don't know whether any of you remember Superman in Bizarro world, where everything is backwards. Number one, this is the number one reason why they kicked the damn banks out of the housing business through the Great Depression, was because you can't fuck with the country's housing supply. People have to have a place to live. And now, because they've gone and securitized all these damn houses, the hedge funds go and buy up all the houses because they're trading them like a commodity now. And now the chairman of the Federal Reserve Board is too poor to be able to afford a home in southern Ontario. I mean, that's how disjointed this has all gotten. It's absolutely screwy. And frankly speaking, the only solution to this, ironically enough for my country, because the politicians, they're just not doing anything to fix the problem. The only way you fix this is through just pure market economics. And there's one very quick way that will fix this, and that is the value of the Canadian dollar should collapse. Because frankly speaking, if you're a migrant living in like Syria and you just had an earthquake, or Ukraine and it's a war, or somewhere in Southeast Asia, and you're like, oh, I sure would love to immigrate to Canada. You have to have a job that's better, that pays more than the chairman of the U.S. Federal Reserve to be able to afford a house in this country. That doesn't make any sense. The only way it makes affordable is if the Canadian dollar collapses, and then those numbers come back in line. Because like I said, I've shown you before, and I actually have this really fun document going that clearly shows that the Canadian politicians, they just don't get economics 101. And this is what's really scary about these damn woke politicians, is they just don't understand. You can't create matter out of thin air. So you go, and here is the Canadian M2 money supply, and you can see there's no quit. At least the Americans are trying to get a little bit of religion here. But the Canadians and this silly substitute drama teacher that's running the country, he doesn't understand that you can't do this. This is unsustainable. Anyway, there's a fun rant for you today. Sorry, everyone. But I can't drive home the point hard enough that we're living in Bizarro world right now. And it's probably very difficult for a lot of people in the public to try and make head or tail out of what the hell's going on in this world right now. It's just absolutely screwy. And I don't know how long it takes for us to get through this. The irony of it all, of course, is that for all you Bitcoin enthusiasts, this is music to your ears. As long as these economies keep acting this way, Bitcoin 100,000, Bitcoin 1 million, I don't see any reason why that can't happen. If anything, it was the number one reason why they built Bitcoin, was to try and offset this just stupidity when it comes to economics. All right, so there you go. Rant. Having said that, interesting debate going on in crypto and Bitcoin right now. And this is probably what I'll finish off with here today. I'm sort of torn right now. I do think that there are a bunch of technical objectives to the upside that really should be hit. Foggenbaum's 4.669s. There's also bigger Foggenbaum levels. Off of original W's way over here, and this big honk and weekly W 4669. I think that they really should be hit.
We've often said that really, you at any given point in time, you should expect a 38.2 tag of markets just to even just clean up the oversoldness of markets. It doesn't necessarily mean we're in a new bull market. If the market does rally up and tag 38.2s, it just simply means that, hey, the market is deciding whether it's ready to bottom yet or not. I do also see, of course, that what a surprise. We've seen this now a few times. FUMC shortly thereafter, kaboom! Actually, I let them off here, FOMC, but I really think we should call this FUMC. FUMC and kaboom! So, we just had an FUMC, and what a surprise. Things are looking a little heavy here. The question ultimately here is this enough to actually call a top in the market? Be interesting listening to our guest host today, Stephen, and what he sees harmonically in the market. If I'm not mistaken, actually, I think he likes the next image that I'm going to show you a little bit better. But I've been humming and hawing about whether this is a top. It would make sense considering FUMC events, and in essence, you could argue that we've had the pullback following the FUMC. I still like the idea that, kind of like that conversation about 38.2s to the upside I made reference to earlier. I do like the idea that this thing has moved awfully far, awfully fast. I mean, this has just been one directional. Vroom! So could we use a nice healthy pullback into 38.2s, 50% just to clean things up in the market? I do like that idea. Having said that, the market's just going to do any old damn thing it wants. If there was a trade to be taken on this head and shoulders top, I like the idea of hunting somewhere around wherever this right shoulder should come in. Is that enough to actually call a top and a dump? It is technically. And ideally for this head and shoulders to be legit, you want to see this right shoulder lower than the left. So that, everything's in place. If they wanted to dump this thing here now, it's interesting how they brought the market right back down basically to the neckline here. So somebody in the market is respecting this level immensely. So, and now we're below moving average resistance. So if we do roll over and crap out through this level, then we probably got a pretty good shot. We're going to dip back down to 20, 21,000, somewhere in that neighborhood. So that's scenario A. And then the flip side of the equation is, I don't think we're done here yet, Brian. In fact, your head and shoulders you're thinking about is actually nothing more than just the left shoulder of a massive head and shoulders pattern that's forming. So this is scenario B. And actually, I even put a tweet out a day or two ago, and I actually put a poll. Well, I'll just finish up this chat. So if this scenario is the case, then you can see that this is A to B, and this, I think, was a pretty important pivot. I had drawn an A, B, C, D off of this pivot, and that's that objective right up in there. Again, remember I had said earlier, there's a bunch of technical objectives up here that I think need to be traded to, but, that's just opinion. If this is a big head and shoulders, massive one, it is interesting that we do have this U.S. Senate hearing on the crypto crashes and stuff. Do we get a scenario where it's a buy the rumor and then sell the news, right? The other scenario was sell the rumor. There's that U.S. Senate hearing. Sell the rumor, buy the news. I'm not quite sure which way this is going to play out. Frankly speaking, I don't think anybody really knows. And, what I find fascinating is you go on social media, and of course all the kids are like, yeah, I knew this was going to happen. I knew that was going to happen. I mean, nobody knows what the fuck's going to happen. You can't predict the future. All you can do is trade your setups and live with the results. So if you are a bull and you're thinking this is going to resolve bullish, interesting, 1 low, 2 lows, 3 lows? Interesting. Notice we have our downtrend line. We've slipped back below the downtrend line. But if this is a bull, then what should happen is we should, as this sort of little drawing illustrates, is we should, let's try and recapture the trend line, and then can we get market structure on the other side of the trend line to set up that long setup trade? And it's interesting how the rally just before Skeletor spoke there yesterday, the rally took us up into basically that level. So what this really means to me is if this market structure here actually confirms down, up, down, breakout, then I think probably the odds are this trade's in play. So it's fascinating to see the war that's going on here. And if I'm not mistaken, I think that's exactly how I described it in the tweets, is I just simply said that whoever wins this war in the marketplace right now is probably going to dictate trade here over the next little while. So this was the tweet that I put out. What are we doing? Are we going to head and shoulders top here into that event, sell the rumor, buy the news? Or is this a bullish bot setting up a massive ABCD, which takes us pretty darn high, right? I mean, this high, get ready, that's 26,543 as a price objective. And notice there's a nice little 877 floating out there to be tagged. There is that ABCD. And that big ABCD that I talked about earlier. And sometimes these ABCDs actually go to like 127s, 1.618s. And I have a funny feeling Steven's actually leaning towards this scenario. Steven, are you here? I think he's here. Yeah. I seem to remember when I did this, you go, yeah, that's actually what I'm thinking. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
I'm still waiting on price to signal.
All
Signal
right.
a little better for me.
Actually, that's a wise answer. I'm still waiting. I will say there are some cute little altcoins, for all you crypto kids. I identified this little one. We had like a list of these AI names, and this one just hadn't gotten going yet. Some of these other ones, like this Ocean, holy crap. Kaboom! My old buddy, iExec RLC, boom, there he goes. Couldn't get in on that one again. But this one actually gave us an opportunity to sneak in here. So I didn't mind buying this level, big honkin' weekly W's and all that kind of talk. And also, too, this was a cute little bullish bot setup. It had two lows, so it's kind of iffy, but looks like we're rocking and rolling here. So on balance, and I'm more than happy to buy some more of this thing if we do crap out back down against the lows. But this was a trade that I put on just the other day. Seems to be working pretty nicely for us. I can move my stop to scratch if we hit $1.27. And today's high here, $1.21.6. So we're getting close on that thing. But other than that, actually, earlier this morning, there was a lot of red on this screen. Right now, it's firming up a bit. But I don't know whether it's going to be enough to turn this train around. And it's interesting to see things like, you can just see it. We always say, excuse me, what are you supposed to think if you ever see the market smiling at you? So if we do go and trade down through that low, up, down, up, breakdown, and you can see it, look how close the moving averages are getting. If this thing does go down through this low here, then we're probably done. But it's not there yet. Slow and steady. Notice how we potentially smiled out here, and if we had gone through these lows, that would have been a big smile. But no, they pushed to new higher highs. My hunch is probably the momentum of the market is probably going to start spitting out divergences now, which is a little bit of a tell that we should be a little bit careful here. So you can see MACD divvying out, RSI divvying out, Willie was stupid divvying out. The question here is, do we go in M? And frankly speaking, we are up against previous highs, so if we did have to back off here, it wouldn't shock me. Oh, look at that, the damn camera died. Isn't that interesting? So even with this, there must be like a timer or something on this. Anyway, I just clicked the button. It used to be before. Oh, and I bet this thing now, what does OBS do? Oh, look at that. See, I'm frozen. How can I fix this on the go? Oh, Jesus. Video properties. Hey, there I am. Look at me. What a handsome mug. We'll go back to that one. There he is. And then we'll go back over here. Let's see if that works. Hey, there I am. I'm back. So before I used to have to change the battery, we got actually a plug in for the camera. But it must be on some sort of timer or something that it just turns itself off. Oh, well, anyway. I think I'm back on now. So, okay, 9:30. I don't know whether I gave you a half-decent market report here today or not. I did want to take the opportunity to walk you through these two different scenarios because really the question ultimately, and as Stephen just sort of said there, and I think that's probably perfectly apt, is if anything, you probably want to let the market play its hand right now. Don't bluff the market. You might say, you know what, this is a top, I'm going to sell this. And then the damn market goes up through this high and the goddamn market just takes off like a rocket. I think if anything, you probably need to get a little bit more anecdotal information from the market to decide which way it's going to go. And you can kind of see there is some wiggle room here. You know, according to our rules that we teach people on the website, we really shouldn't take a trade until you see market structure on the other side of this trend line. So as it stands right now, I would actually say the bear has the ball right now, and it's incumbent on the bull. The bull has got to clean itself up, get itself back above this trend line, start putting in W's before we can actually start thinking that the bull's really back at the wheel. So it's kind of iffy. I tweeted this guy out last night just because I was so impressed. This is such a good example of sort of listening to the market's message and what they call following the smart money. Although, where the hell did the... oh, that's weird. I had on here a nice news article. There is a big institutional player. There it is. Big institutional player, and I made a bad mistake on a little pharma stock about a year or two ago, a CLAS, where somebody came in and bought or did a deal. It was a convertible debenture with the CLAS guys, but that's where it stood. And eventually the company ran out of money, and then they ended up, I think, declaring bankruptcy. And the people that loaned them the money, poof, it's gone. Here's a really good example where same sort of thing. The people lent this company money as a convertible debenture, paying just a ridiculously high interest rate. But they announced here, January 23rd, that they were going to convert the convertible debenture, paying 11% yield. I mean, that's a pretty damn hot, sexy yield. They were going to convert it into stock of the company. And of course, you look at the actual chart of the company, and I guess it kind of makes sense. I mean, this is just like that little CLAS. The only difference with this company is this company actually, anybody who remembers, who's Canadian, remembers the Second Cup coffee franchise. It's kind of like a competitor to Starbucks, but it's sort of Canada's version of Starbucks, called Second Cup. They also have been accumulating a lot of cannabis assets as the cannabis companies have all been going under. You can see they've got Bridgehead Coffee, St. Louis Bar and Grill. It's actually a really interesting conglomerate of name brands. And the people who own this debenture, they actually converted it into stock at 48 cents a share, right? You can see it right here. The conversion price, 0.485 per common share. And the stock is trading at 52 cents a share. I mean, basically, they just bought, I think it was something like 50 million shares of the company at 50 cents a share, or basically about a $25 million, aggregate of 51 million common shares, or basically a $25 million investment in the company's equity, actually buying the company. So I thought that was a fascinating anecdote. This is the definition of following the smart money. And oh, by the way, I'm more than happy to go and buy as much stock as I possibly can around that 50 cent area. I was very, very impressed with that. Really good example of everything that I try to teach you in the course about following the smart money. And this is an interesting vehicle that most people in the public just never, they never get privy to this. They never understand this. A convertible debenture. Wow, there's a crazy ass thing. I bet you never heard anybody talk about convertible debentures before. So that was kind of a fun outcome from our meeting last night. And then, of course, our crew, they're pretty damn good stock pickers. And I got to say, the list of names, I just went through the group and said, what are some names that you're interested in? And some of these charts look very interesting. I mean, I don't know about this one. This one I don't think technically is jumping out of me, although it kind of looks like a pretty good looking inverted head and shoulders. Trying to rally here, but do your own due diligence. I'm telling you about these because I think it's good free sort of public service message, and I'm pretty much coming to the end of my broadcast here. I thought this one was interesting, LAZY. So we were contemplating a bull call spread here. Really interesting story. Lazy Day Holdings, pretty stunning fundamentals. We were thinking about a bull call spread here. So anybody who trades the spreads, Joe Z, Zach, if you're watching this, maybe let's do some math on that. Along the lines of those Aegis stock I showed you, they were acquiring. What's that? Somebody says F Lambos. I want to drive a convertible debenture. That's good. Oh, you made me laugh today. Thank you. I appreciate that. What's his name? Double uses. Good joke. This company also happens to be in the we'll call it what do you call it? Enhanced beverage market. Maybe we'll call it that. So, hey, and this one actually was pretty popular with the group before the sickness. And then they absolutely had their stock destroyed. But interesting, Reload Zone. One of our site OGs who actually does a lot of the recording for the meetings, he mentioned this one. Good looking stock. If you're going to take a risk in the marketplace, that's the area you want to take a risk. And then also, too, we noticed things like JetBlue. Same sort of idea, coming right back down against historic lows, putting in W's. I mean, are you interested? A big part of our conversation yesterday was all about how this scamdemic is going to be officially declared over, and a lot of these kind of companies are probably going to catch a bid. And I think this is along the same lines as things like Carnival Cruise Lines. And I've mentioned that to you. We had a great trade here about a year or two ago, and now the damn market's spitting up another buy signal here, which I thought was pretty cool. So I was really, really impressed with the club meeting last night. And there's a few names for you to chew on. Do with it as you please. But PMA for the win. Hope you enjoyed that market summary. I think, unfortunately, we're still in a little bit of wait and see. Like I said, short term, we had nice bearish setups happening here. This morning, stock market's still on its knees. If anything, we probably need to let the dust settle a little bit here. We were all sort of waiting for that big Fed talk yesterday. And what I distinctly heard out of Jerry yesterday was we're not done by a long shot. And he said it's going to take a lot of time to get in front of this labor inflation problem. So go slowly, people. Okay, I think we'll probably leave it at that for today. PMA for the win. I suppose we'll have our crypto show tonight, so we'll talk lots of crypto and maybe dig apart these bullish and bearish potential setups here for Bitcoin going forward. And like I said earlier, I just trade setups and I trade things that look attractive to me. So I had a nice breakout, a nice bullish bot come in on this lit, and so I pulled the trigger. I mean, I just, traders got to trade, got to do what you got to do. So I'm long and I'm strong and I'm feeling actually pretty good about this little thing. I'm feeling lit. All right, everybody, have yourselves a fantastic rest of your day. PMA for the win. And I suppose we'll see everybody tonight for the show. All right, have yourselves a great day. All the best, and bye for now, you crazy ass motherfuckers.